What is going on? Welcome to another episode of the River Run podcast. I'm your host, Adam Pross, holding it down for you in Ontario, Canada. Man, I'm excited. Yeah, a lot of big things happening, to be honest with you. Let's face it, bass season is about to begin. Get pumped, get excited. We've waited so long for this, but I have to wait a little bit longer for smallies. Actually, it's kind of weird with the St. Lawrence River is that it opens earlier, and then it shuts down for it's just catch and release, and then after that, it shuts down from May till the first weekend in July. Smallies are open. You can go catch them. It's a great time. If you haven't caught a smallmouth yet, which I'm sure most of you have, it is a fantastic bite. It is an awesome bite. And so I'm pumped. But hey, to everybody getting out there this weekend, though, go catch the big ones. I can't wait to see all the pictures. At the same time, wear your PFDs when you're out on the water, have a plan. Same time, let somebody know where you're going. Go with a buddy, you know what I mean? Or you know what? Take somebody fishing who's never gone fishing before, at the same time. It's I would say I'm pretty excited. I won't lie. My son's pretty excited. He is pumped for bass season. So, what's been going on? Well, past a little bit, we had the JK Fun Tour, the demo day for the kayak fishing through Jackson Kayaks at Frontenac Outfitters. And I won't lie, we had an absolute blast. I just wanted to give a little shout out to Zach Fittis and the entire crew at Frontenac Outfitters. You guys rock. Honestly, it was such a fun day. It was really cool coming down there, and we had a load of boats out on the water. We had met a lot of cool people, families, people interested in just recreational kayaking, people just kayak fishing. It was fun. We're also joined by a couple of teammates, Aaron Dodds and Ryan Hips. He came down. I got to be honest with you. There's nothing better than spending time with teammates because surround yourself with the people that, you are passionate about the same thing. It's awesome. So we had a blast. We had a blast. Another thing too, I don't know if you noticed this. Yeah. Kayak Bass Canada swag is in the house. Yeah, you know it. This is this thing right here, if I can get it right, because So if you haven't picked up a hat yet, go over to Kayak Bass Canada, the Facebook group. They're on Instagram too. Don't or reach out to an ambassador like myself, or you got a whole bunch of awesome people across Canada, actually. Or reach out to one of the admin too. Jason Brock, he's a mastermind behind these hats. They come in the trucker style, and then I got the trucker for myself, which then my son really wanted, and so I also got the flat brimmed, which I'm not usually a flat brim guy, but hey, this is cool. I'm liking it. It's good. So at the same time as we dig into the good old fun of podcasts and whatnot, I gotta say something here. So if you're on the stateside, or you're in Canada too, if you're interested in the U.S. Bassin Trail, which is presented to you by Jackson Kayaks. Jackson Kayaks has a awesome lineup of trails that are coming across the U.S. They're all over, everywhere from looks like Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee, Missouri, Virginia, Ohio. You can go down, check it out. It's usbassin.com. Check out the full lineup of events happening all summer long. It looks like it's there's actually they actually have
Tuesday night events, Wednesday night events. The week, yeah, no, that's cool. I think Canada that would be kind of cool. I know there's James Stevenson was talking about it on one of the last podcasts with me. She was talking about the Tuesday night group. So it's, the Top Water series, I believe it was called. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, so in the end, that would be kind of cool, like going out and you got, a couple hours to just really like figure out if you can catch them, or if you're, you got the skunk. So yeah, no, I did something cool actually. So I have a trailer. That's how I generally move my kayak all over the place. And sometimes I do rooftop it, but you know what? I'm kind of done with the rooftopping. It's convenient 110%. If, rooftoping gets you to some pretty unique spots. The trailer, though, it's handy. I won't lie. Like all my gear, everything. I got like cargo carrier on it. But I added a rod tube, an 8-inch PVC rod tube to it, which I gotta say, I'm really excited for this. Why? Well, I no longer need to put all my rods in the back of my journey, which will give me more space when I'm sleeping, which is fantastic. Why? Well, there's nothing worse than like rolling over in your sleeping bag and then it's like, and you're like, ooh, I hope I didn't just break a whole bunch of my rods. So yeah, no, it was cool. I got it all. I got the PVC at work and did a little do it myself, as that's how I do things. I'll be honest with you. I'm a handy guy. I like to do things myself. So I got it all rigged onto my trailer. I got it painted. I threw on this beautiful Kayak Bass Canada decal. It's huge. Like I put that on. I threw on a Tight Lines tackle. That's our tackle shop here in Cornwall, Ontario. Go down and speak with Robert Martin. He is not only a fantastic flower salesman, but he is a phenomenal store owner of amazing tackle and rods and reels, you name it. And yeah, located in Cornwall, Ontario. Also, tightlines.com, I believe, is the website, online store too. So check it out. But yeah, no, it's I gotta say, like it was fun adding that. And I think I threw a Shimano one on, a Yak Attack. So yeah, in the end, I was pretty proud of myself getting that on. It was, one of those Sundays of maybe a little frustration getting that there, only because I don't know if you've ever hung pipe or anything with U-bolts, but U-bolts suck. That's my personal opinion. They're definitely great for holding things up, but like when you got to try and MacGyver things around, I don't really like U-bolts. I could go without them, but for this, you have to have your U-bolts, because how else are you going to hang this piece of pipe, right? So, but yeah, no, it's I'm happy to have it all done. Don't forget also our friends over at Dubro Fishing are offering you a promo code, which is RUN10. You can see it right down here. You save 10% at checkout. Dubro Fishing has a lot of awesome products, everything from boaters to kayakers. They have plastics. I actually picked up a couple to see how awesome they're going to be, because, I won't lie. I love plastics. Like if there's any lure I'd probably throw a lot of is plastics. I consider myself to be probably a finesse guy. Is that always going to be that way? I don't know. Like listening to Drew Gregory like talk about like power fishing. Yeah, like I definitely like chatterbaits. I like crankbaits. I like, wake baits. Wake baits were something that I really enjoy. And so yeah, no. But finesse wise, I don't know. What about you guys? You guys finesse? You guys like for your power fishermen? I don't know. it's always been that way for me. Even when I started fishing, it was like I always seemed to have more plastics than I did have terminal tackle sense, you know, like hard baits and getting into like bigger glide baits and stuff like that. Yeah, but no, I've always been a fan. Plastics, Senkos. I'm a wacky rig guy. Like I'm not kidding you. When I get out on the water, I always bring a wacky rig. I'm not kidding. Like it's either with a weighted hook or it's unweighted, and that part is where you got to figure that one out. But craw imitations, I love those too. And paddle tails, like little boot tails, man. Like if it swims, it's probably going to get eaten by something that swims. Okay. So like, I don't know why people sometimes say like, oh, I don't really like paddle tails. It's like, to me, it's like the easiest search bait. Like, whether it's a 4-inch, 5-inch, but I really like the small guys. Like I like, a bait fish imitation, something that's in that 2.5 to 3-inch is really what I enjoy. But yeah, no, at the end of it all, plastics are, I have lots of them. I don't know if do I have enough of them? Well, that's a good question. I'm sure if you went in my garage, you'd say, yeah, he's probably got way too many. But at the end of the day, do you really have enough? Are there really enough plastics out there? Yeah, I would say, no. There's always something new to try, right? Now I'm just waiting at the same time for my guests to get in, but no, I wanted to actually talk about another thing. This past week, a fellow teammate of mine, Dustin Nichols, on the Jackson team, he has chosen to hang up his hat with Jackson. He was also our team manager. And I gotta give this guy a shout out. Like Dustin, I wish you all the best, dude. I hope your new chapter, you will bring nothing but greatness, my friend. You are like, you're one rad dude, but like honestly, the world needs more people like you, man. Like you, I know you're all the way out in Virginia, Texas, but man, I appreciate all our phone calls, everything that you do for Jackson, everything you've done for me. And no, I just wanted to give a personal shout out to you. And I wanted to also wish you all the best, as you are probably one of the most influential people out there, I think, to a lot of us too, on the team. And so, yeah, no, at the end of the day, I got to say, I do wish you all the best. I'll miss you. But if you didn't know this, and you probably do, Chasing the Tide. Chasing the Tide is one of the Paddle and Fin podcast shows, and yours truly, Dustin Nichols. He is the man behind that. So I'm hoping that maybe at some point Dustin will want to come on this show. And don't forget to check out Dustin on his own show. So yeah, no. But I would say all the best, brother. I hope you, seriously, I wish you all the best, and I thank you for everything. So, like, bass season's starting. Like, do you have any goals? Like, I got some goals here. One is I'm a river angler. I'll be honest with you. I really enjoy the river. Lakes are fun, but chasing river smallmouth is what I love. And for me, there is nothing like it. That skinny water, finding those bends and twists and turns, you know what I mean? So some of mine, one is just I gotta keep on getting out there, man. Like keep on getting out there, keep on learning. And at the same time, I want to become more proficient. And the way I want to do that is I want to begin to break down water even more without electronics. As much as I love electronics in the deep, I don't really use electronics in the on the skinny water. I do, though, do a lot of map study. Google Maps, Google Earth. I also will watch a lot of YouTube. So Jeff Little is one of those people that you can definitely learn a lot from. And if you didn't actually, this kind of brought me to my next, just one little thing here. Jameson Redding and Jeff Little did this video. I don't know if you guys saw it. It was a re-entry video. So Jeff actually flips his video. Jeff actually rolls his kayak, so he ends up going out and into the water. Kayak's completely flipped over, and in this 2-minute video, let's say, watch it and just watch how his ability is to get that kayak up and over, and just watch what he uses. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of us I don't think practice re-entry. I think you should. I honestly do. Like, there's a lot of times when you're out there on the water, and you got to think you got all that gear, and your ability to flip that thing back over, the first time you do it doesn't want to be the time that you're completely in shock. You know what I mean? As trust me, when you flip, you will be in shock. It always happens, and it will happen at the time that you're least expecting it. So take the time. If anybody ever wants to go and actually flip a kayak and practice getting back into it, hey, give me a holler. I'll go out there with you. And there's a great little beach down the way from me that is perfect for this. But yeah, no, just practice it. Get out there. You got your PFD. But at the same time, when you flip and you got a crate full of gear, and you got hatches in your kayak, and you got all this other stuff, hopefully all your stuff's tied down so you're not losing it, because if not, you're probably going to lose it. But so check it out. It's I believe it was through the American Canoe Association. So that is definitely something to check out. It's a really cool video. But no, so goals for this year. Well, techniques, going to work on a couple more techniques. I don't know if you guys have any of the goals here. Like what do we got here? Honestly, like if you got goals, what are they going to be? Like, are you going to go out there? You got personal bests to break? Is it you just want to get out on the water and fish more? I don't know. I'm one of these. I'll be honest with you. I'm probably an angler that's just like, well, I go out there and I'm just grateful to catch fish. So if I don't catch fish, I'm just really grateful for my time out on the water. At the same time, you can, when you get out there on the water, here's one thing, okay? It's awesome. That's your time. That's, go out there with friends, have fun, and do what needs to get done. Whether you're fishing, for smallies, largies, whatever, go out there and have fun. That's the most important thing. Bring a friend, that's another part, I think I got a pretty neat event coming up. We got the CHEO event, which is awesome. So a lot of people just getting together for a fantastic cause. We have the Fishing for Autism. That's another one. Fantastic cause. There's another one that's going down in, I believe it's near Saranac Lake. And I'm going to go out there and help out with a Veterans on the Water. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. So, and we got Hard Knocks, Hard Knocks. We got a lot of meetups coming. At the same time, you can get a free hat, possibly, if you come down to Hard Knocks River Run Fishing. You can get a hat, stickers, and yeah, the Hard Knocks meetups are going to be fun. But, at the same time, if you're looking for more of a competition base, well, let's just say that it would have to be Kayak Bass Canada. So, have you signed up for Kayak Bass Canada this year yet? Well, there's a lot of you got a couple weeks. If you're like, if you want to do the July, you got a couple weeks. Get in there, sign up all through the Fishing Chaos app. Don't forget to check out the rules. The rules are always important. Because at the end of the day, if you are unsure, the rules are there. They're there for you and also help with judging and whatnot. So if you're having questions about, catch boards, how to upload, at the same time, think about this, we're not sure about hand placement. You're not sure about, how to hold a fish down. Yeah, one of the easiest fish to hold down, largely. One of the hardest fish to hold down is a smallmouth. They don't want to stay. They're not photogenic in that way, unless you can get them to pose perfectly. But they always seem to be the ones that flinch and will always make it off your board. I remember that. I remember actually one of my very first kayak tournaments. This is back with CHEO, and it was on Black Donald. And I had gone out there with some friends, and I ended up, it was raining the whole time I was out there, and it was the best fishing that I think I'd had in a long time. It was a awesome day, only because the fish were so active, but they were such cookie cutter size that you were I remember throwing a 3/8 football jig with a little Strike King Rage Craw on it, and when I threw that, it was fantastic. It was one of those things that in the end they were definitely biting. That the problem was, every time I go to put that fish on that board, guess what happened? Oh, well, I lost it, and I continued to lose it. I couldn't get over how fast these things were making it off. So at the same time, it was cool, but yeah, no, Black Donald. And I remember getting back, and somebody had said to me, "Oh man, how many fish did you catch today? How did it work out for you?" And I was just like, "Well, I definitely caught some fish. I caught a lot of measurable fish too, but every time I was just so excited to get it on the board, you know what I mean? And what ended up happening is that fish was just out of the water, onto the board, trying to, and then gone. Oh, so cast back down and work the spot again, and I continued to, and I worked as hard as I could, but the biggest mistake that I made was I wasn't giving that fish a chance to chill out, right? And you got to let smallies chill out. You got to give him a chance to really chill in that net. He's going to try and do a burnout in your net. He's going to try and work his way out of it completely. But yeah, my guest is still a little bit late, so I do apologize, but hopefully it'll come on down. But yeah, so let's talk maybe techniques right now. You want to talk about techniques? Techniques are fun. What's one technique that I'm going to work on this year is the glide bait. Why? Well, the Sixth Sense trace. I got one last fall, and it is going to be the one bait that that I don't really throw glide baits, to be honest with you. So I bought this, and I'm I just want to try this. I've heard great things about it. It looks cool, and hey, it's it's a new way to fish. The Sixth Sense trace. Cool, let's try it. So the glide bait is definitely going to be one of those baits. I got a whole rod reel set up, and I think I've dialed my line size and my reel and rod. I think I've found something that will work for it all. It's been, I don't know, like throwing it in the pool, to be honest with you. But yeah, no, it's definitely gonna be a one bait that I will try is definitely the glide. The glide. I don't know if you guys throw any crazy big baits like that, but this thing's only I want to say 5 inches. So I do like throwing a lot of like finesse paddle tails, and I'll even throw the bigger ones. The bigger ones are the ones that are out there. So Marco said, "Oh, Marco's in the house. Rick Dory's in the house. Dave Primo's in the house. Sorry there, gentlemen. I apologize." So how about this? Let's do something fun here. Rick Dory says I need to sharpen my drop shot game. Okay, so Rick Dory, when we're talking drop shots here, what part of that are we sharpening? You know, like that's I would say, you know, for the drop shot, for me, when I started to learn drop shot, it was all about electronics. When I went into learning my electronics, I focused on using the drop shot. Why? Well, because when I had the graph in front of me and I started to understand all my arches and my down imaging and whatnot, the drop shot to me was something I could see. So I was out on a lake, Charleston Lake, and I was in probably about 40, maybe 30 feet of water, 30, 40 feet of water. And there was this buoy. Okay. And it was getting a little bit windy. And so this buoy, the line that held this thing actually in there, I could actually see it on my graph. And when I looked down and I started to notice, wow, there's all these like fish sitting. I could see the fish. So I was like, oh, this makes sense. So I dropped down. Now with a drop shot, you know, you got to think of it at the same time as your drop rate. So, you know, if you got to get it down quick, obviously you're going to be using a heavier weight. But at the same time, if you got fish that are a little more suspended and you want to use a lighter, well, I would personally use a lighter just so it gives them a chance to look at it a bit more as it falls. So when it comes to the drop shot, you know, electronics are a big thing. Your line and rod. I think line and rod is, you know, there's the two things right there. I personally run a 610, but I like a 7. 610 to 7 is usually my rod length that I like. Now, when you get into reels, well, see, I if I'm going like really light finesse, I'll probably only go with 1,000 size reel. If I'm going heavier, you know, I could be somewhere between 25 to 3,000 size reel. And for line size, well, you know, that's really, for me, last year I actually ran straight fluoro. So I just ran 8-pound straight fluoro. And, you know, I got to be honest with you, I liked it. You know, you got to be a little more mindful. But that whole idea that you don't need to do, you know, braid to fluoro, like, it's kind of handy actually. Like I'll be honest with you. So it's got to be, yeah. But years in the past, I've always done braid to fluoro. So this year I actually went back and I'm going to stick with the braid to fluoro. Now there's definitely the Nessie. Yeah, the Nessie. Marco says he's going to try the Nessie 7 this year. Yeah, so I picked up a Nessie 7. It's a soft plastic style glide bait, which is pretty neat. And so yeah, no, I would definitely give it a try. I'll let you know what I think when I catch a fish on it. Till then, let's see. Now, okay, yeah. So when you're looking at line size, so there's line size. So there's like your tests, right? So you got like 15, 10. I actually focus more on line diameter rather than tests, because I feel like the diameter, you know, is where, for me personally, is where it's definitely going to be more beneficial. But you know, everybody's got their own, and that's okay too. That is definitely an all right thing to have. But no. Now, who else had said? Ooh, Chris, what's going on, Chris? Chris, all the way in Maine, United States. What is up? Yeah, no, yeah, no. So yeah, Rick, if it, 15 is that, in my opinion, that there's nothing wrong with 15-pound Power Pro. You can go with that, and that's you got some good line right there. So Power Pro is they make a lot of fantastics line, the V Slick and whatnot, but when it comes to line, I'm kind of all over the place. I'll be honest with you. Like I do use Power Pro, but I got into the whole Suffix 832 braid, and I was pretty impressed with that. My buddy Nelson, Nelly, he had told me about that, and I said, I'll give that a try. I used to use a lot of Cigar Smackdown braid was where it was at. So yeah, no, but we're going to take a short break, and I will be right back here with you. Yes, Jackson Kayaks, the NAR, done by with Mr. Jameson in there. So, but yeah, no, like I gotta say too, like when it comes to trying new techniques, I don't know. I think we spend so much time like in the winter time, like we're either watching YouTube, you get through all those new baits that are coming out, and you're just constantly thinking, talking, people are posting, oh, check this, look what I've got. Yeah, no, like new techniques are definitely what I think you can have a lot of fun with. And there's nothing better than actually, for me, I actually prefer multi-purpose rods, and that's where your techniques are fun, because there's nothing wrong. Like a technique specific rod is definitely what you can. There's nothing wrong with that. You can have that, but I gotta say, when it comes down to multi-purpose rods, well, that's fun, because like if you're a kayak angler, and you may not have the budget for multiple rods, like I would definitely go with a more multi-purpose rod. Why? Well, like at the same time you can do multiple things. So like if you're looking for a rod that might act as like a finesse, but like let's say like you can throw everything from like a drop shot to Senkos, Nico rigs, Ned rigs, like that's where it's all handy. One rod, kind of covers it all. Another rod being like, let's say like a moderate fast would be an excellent example of a multi-purpose rod. Why? Well, at the end of the day, it's you can throw a lot of different baits on that. Like you can go from everything from like your chatter baits and spinner baits to your top waters, cranks, all you name it. Like you're covering a wide range. Like a 7-foot heavy, look at that as a jig rod, flipping rod, frogging rod, you name it, your big bait rod, like that's definitely where it comes in super handy. So it sounds like our guest might actually be joining. Let's see. I hopefully, if he has, yeah, no, But you know, at the same time, that's why. Like for me, I've always been a multi-purpose rod is where I honestly think it will shine greatly. And when it comes to, you know, for me, braid, I'm gonna be honest with you. I generally go braid on my casting as much as I do on my spinning. For casting, I generally stay within the 30-pound braid. Is usually, yeah. I think I have one rod that might have 40-pound on it. But I would say 30-pound is where it's at for sure. Like you having the same size line on every reel, for me, it just makes more sense. Like I just can feel things better that way. But at the same time, I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird like that. Like it's definitely one of those. It should be a yeah. No, now, okay. So Chris said, hold on here. So Chris says, okay, hold on here. I think Chris said, 7-1 medium heavy fast as my yeah, like I said right there. So without further ado, I'd like to bring to the stage the Megabass. Nick Cousvis is in the house, and I'm super excited that you're able to make it. So let's bring to the stage Nick Cousvis.
Hey, thanks, man. I'm so sorry. I had a last minute project. I was out on the water testing a new bait and just got in, and I was like, I don't know what happened. I looked at the time. I was like, oh my God, don't I have a podcast tonight?
Dude, don't worry about it.
I'm surprised I didn't get a message from you, but then I did. I realized, I'm sorry.
Dude, don't worry about it. Like you know what? I understand it, you know, and
thank you.
I'm sure that this, like, you're taking time for us. So if you got 30 minutes, you know, that's cool. If you got 15,
I greatly appreciate it, man. And you know, this is honestly, I could tell you, it's the first podcast that I missed or I was late for. I'm sorry.
So for the folks that don't know you, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. My name's Nick Cousvis. I am a sales rep at Megabass of America. I also do some trophy sessions for smallmouth bass in the Great Lakes and some of the other inland lakes in southern Ontario in the fall, and then in the spring again we have that little bit of a open season on Lake Ontario for a couple of weeks, and that's the deal. Yeah, I'm just, you know, fishing all the time. It's fantastic. I love it, and yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. Like you're not just, and like, I'll be honest with you, like you are fishing all the time, but I honestly feel like you're out there and you're like hauling in like 6, 7 pounders, like smallies. Like I think one of your posts, I want to say, I had been following you for a while, but you know, it was at 8.55 pound smallie.
Yeah. So I got that this spring. That's the third one I've caught. My biggest before was a 837. Not last fall. It was 2022. I caught that. Hey, stop it! Sorry, it's my dog.
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the third one. I had a 803 that I weighed twice, an 837 and an 855. So yeah.
Dude, that
fun. Yeah.
So like, I gotta ask you, like, you know, as like you're talking, you know, Megabass here, like, you know, you're your sales rep with Megabass, you know, and you know, that's a pretty interesting job if you're a fisherman. Like, to be honest with you, like, you know, there's a lot of fishermen, but at the same time, you know, like I'm a fisherman, but my job's a welder, you know, so I don't, you know, my passion isn't being paid. Like, you know, I'd like to do that, but like, tell us, like, how did that begin? Like, you know, Megabass, you know, like as an actual, you know, sales rep, like that's really cool.
Yeah, it honestly, and I know this is cliche, but it's a dream job for me. I was a pro staff. They courted me years ago, so it's been 9 years that I was a pro staff, or eight years that I was pro staff here in Canada, and then you know, I just kept telling them, hey, you know, I'd want to do more. I sort of want to shift over because, you know, like you, I haven't always been I've always had like a small part in the fishing industry, but
Yeah.
it's all been like pro staff stuff and, you know, things like that. So I was actually in the food and beverage industry most of my life since I got out of university. That's what I did. So, but I wasn't getting any time to fish. Like it was hard to get, you know, like fall, forget about it. From September to Christmas time, you're done.
Yeah.
You know, and I was working for Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, so they deal with the Toronto Maple Leafs, Toronto Raptors, all that stuff. So this is a big event space with a lot of people, and just it was a super busy place. So, you know, I just grinded it out. Like when COVID came, that stuff kind of went by the wayside, and I needed to, you know, figure things out. And I did what I could. I grinded out, tried to make a buck here, a buck there, and just slowly came together. And Megabass put me on as a part-time sales guy 2 years ago, and now I'm full-time. So, but you know what, Megabass, you know, they still see a lot of value in me being on the water. So it's a great mix of, you know, dealing with dealers, talking to dealers, which I love to do. Like, who wouldn't love just to sit there, talk fishing and talk product, right? It's amazing. And then, you know, when I'm not doing that, I'm on the water, you know, chasing big smallmouth. But that's something that came about, I would say about 4 years ago. Like this will be 4 falls when I started this sort of trophy, targeting the biggest fish in the water and just spending a lot of time doing that. And it's, you know, I had no idea what to expect, and it just took off. I got onto something that was pretty cool and sort of expanded onto different lakes, and it's really produced some giant fish.
So how, like, I gotta ask you, like, as like a trophy smallmouth like fisherman here, like, are you like we all want to know, like, are you a finesse guy or are you a
Yeah. I'm both. Yeah, I'm both. Like, you know,
I guess you gotta have to be when you gotta adapt. You know what I mean? You can't just focus on one.
You do, and you know, at one time, the finesse thing was not a very popular thing. Most guys didn't do it. Like even in the U.S., going in to many different states, the sales of spinning rods was so low, especially if you go south of the 44. Like they're like, you spinning. What are you using?
Fairy wands, I think they called them.
Yeah,
correct?
That's right. Yeah, fairy sticks or fairy wands. So
yeah, fairy wands.
Most guys that call them fairy wands are all buying. It's amazing. Now, you know, I still think in parts of the U.S. and particularly southeast, south central, I think bait casters still tip the scales, but not by much. Like you're talking 55-45, 60-40, which it used to be like 95-5. Like that's what it was, 90-10. So, yeah, a little bit of both. Like I look at every time I'm on the water, I'm looking at a situation. I try to break it down and figure out what my best options are at that point. And it could be a crankbait, it could be a top water, it could be a jerkbait. Jerkbait has produced a lot of like giant fish for me over the years. It's a hard bait to throw consistently. It, you know, even nowadays with, you know, obviously Megabass Japanese stuff, so much easier than, you know, growing up throwing a Smithwick Rogue or a Thunderstick by Storm. Like the stuff we used to do to get those baits to suspend was, you know, it's crazy. So it makes it easier, but it's still a lot of work compared to throwing a drop shot or, you know,
for
whatever,
sure.
You know, yeah. So, but you know, you got to throw both. Fall time is very different from the springtime. The way I catch fish and the depth that I get them in is far different from one or the other. So it gives it's a nice mix. The summertime is a lot of like drop shot, man. It's a lot of drop shot. Obviously, forward facing sonar is becoming a big deal. Pin minnows is going to be a big deal. But I'm trying to like stretch it. I know that guys catch big fish on jerk baits with forward facing sonar. So I'm spending a lot of time this summer playing with that and seeing if it's something that, you know, might produce some bigger fish. You know, everybody's throwing a pin minnow. Everybody's throwing a drop shot. And don't get me wrong, it catches a lot of fish, but you know,
it'll catch fish. But would you honestly say that like the drop shot, it catches fish? Does it produce quality fish, you know, that you're seeing all the time? Or are you seeing that more on a different style presentation where those quality 6-7 pound you know, fish come out of?
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm just trying to figure out a quick update. So I'm at like 24 fish over 7 pounds and 3 over 8,
Jesus.
and not one of them came on a drop shot. Not
Amazing.
one. Yeah. So,
Amazing.
there has been some fish did come on nets. I don't throw a net a lot, but there are specific times that I will throw. But,
Yeah.
mostly it's come on a swim bait, a jerk bait, and a dark sleeper.
Oh yeah, that's
That
cool.
dark sleeper
Yeah.
is it's legit. Like this year, I would say we had 5 over 7, and every single one came on a dark sleeper except for one.
That's
And
amazing.
my
The dark
855
sleeper.
the 855 came on a dark sleeper as well.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. He's giving us some juice there. He's saying now you can just what you've done is increase the sale. I think of dark sleepers right there, because it's the overnight is going to go up when people hear this.
That'd be great. Yeah.
No, I think that would be. Dude, I think that would be awesome. I actually personally, I do like the dark sleeper. I have not caught almost a 9-pound smallie on a dark sleeper, but I will tell you this though, where I fish on the St. Lawrence River, I'm up in like Cornwall, Ontario, near Messina, New York area. So the dark sleeper, actually, I picked it up a while ago. And I remember last summer I was going out there and I was throwing it. And I'll be honest with you, at first I looked at it and I was like, I kind of hem and hawed. Like you look at it and you're like, no, okay, like could it be? But like, yeah, no, it's neat because it comes in all different sizes. You can get, your quarters all the way up to, I believe it's like an ounce, correct?
That's right. Yeah. So there are 3 sizes. There's a 2.4, a 3 inch, and a 3.8. The 3 comes in at 3/4 and an ounce. I think the 3 inch is 3/8, half, and 3/4. And the 2.4 is 1/4 and 3/8. So, they're heavier considering when you look at them, but they have a real flat bottom to them and they tend to slow fall, right? So even a half ounce 3 inch will not sink very fast. I agree with you, but I'll tell you, they actually get better the more you beat them up. So I had some dark sleepers in the boat with some customers. They were laughing, literally chunks of rubber taken off them, and they're still catching them. But we had some like 40 to 70 fish days.
Wow.
I don't know how many dark sleepers I went through, mostly not because they were unfishable. They break off, right? So the way you tie that gets tied right on the front, and that front end of the nose is what impacts the rock all the time. So a guy might check his line and it looks good, like it feels good, but that knot is compromised, and then the next time you set the hook, it breaks off. So I'm constantly giving that line a real good tug, making sure that it's not broken. It's different with customers because they're catching so many fish, having so much fun that they forget. I always tell them, check your line, check your line, check your line. But 7 fish later, they don't check their line and then it's broken. So
dark sleeper gone. Yeah.
Amazing springtime and fall bait. It's a decent summer bait, but for sure, if anywhere you're fishing, anywhere you're fishing in spring, it's dynamite. And then again, when the water gets cold, it gets really good too.
That's neat. So when it comes to the dark sleeper, for the folks that maybe don't throw a dark sleeper or have, we just want to go over like a quick, simple setup for the dark sleeper. Like what is it?
Yeah, you know what? We played around with a lot of rods. So in P5 Destroyer, we have a bait caster called the Dark Sleeper. It's a great rod, and the key to the rod is you want a rod that's got a little bit more bend in the belly. A lot of guys look at it as a jig, so they'll get an extra fast rod. It's too fast, you lose a lot of fish with that rod. I guarantee you, your hookup ratio might not even be 30%.
Really?
But if you have a rod that's got a deeper bend to it, like that Dark Sleeper, I love that rod. But honestly, my favorite rod, if I had to pick one, would be the 7.4 Megabass Levante Enforcer. It's a 7.4 spinning. I'll put it on like, 15, 16 pound braid, and I'll put a 10 or 12 pound fluorocarbon leader. Go a little bit heavier, even in the ultra clear water, doesn't matter. They eat it. I started so light when I first started the process in Lake Ontario, 5, 6, 7 pound test. And then you start to realize, I give my customers, 10, 9, 12, and they're catching fish all the time on a regular basis. There are certain situations when you're in like ultra clear water, flat, calm, sun's high. Yes. Using really light lures, the reason why you'd go to lighter lines, because you want to get that more natural action. If that line's too heavy and you're trying to throw like a 332 ounce bait or an 1/8 ounce bait, it's going to impede the action of that bait. So, but with a dark
100%.
sleeper, you see, even the 1/4 ounce is still a lot of weight. You don't need anything lighter than 10 pound. If you're going to 8, you're going to break off a lot, because that bait seems to find every nook and cranny in the rocks, and it breaks off a lot. But that Enforcer at that price point, I've played around with a lot of rods, and honestly, there is nothing. Every one of my customers has picked up that Levante Enforcer when they get off the water with me, because it is, the hookup ratio is insane. It's a fun rod. It's long. It's got the length
7.4.
gas. Yep. And it's got the power. It feels light.
It does. It
but
does.
It's got a lot of power in that belly.
Yeah. So the 7.4 Enforcer by the Levante series, I actually have one.
Oh, okay.
And I love it. Like, it is a powerhouse.
It is.
And I have it spooled up with 10 pound.
Yeah. Perfect.
With a 3,000 size Shimano reel on it. I want to say it's a Stratic FL.
Okay. Yeah, that's perfect.
And to be honest with you, the Levante series, I first got into it was the Diablo Spec R.
One of my favorites.
Wow, what a rod, dude! Like, insanely. Like, if you could only have one,
yes,
I always say that's the rod. And they have fantastic line. I absolutely love the Levante series, but I do have like the Orochi series, the shaky head. I really like that.
Nice rod.
That's and I have the Emergency Missions Type F.
Okay, yeah.
And that one there, I like that one. But I will say though, the Enforcer definitely was the rod that I chose to use for my dark sleepers.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic, like, I love it as a tube rod, so I just thought naturally, like, this just went hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, but yeah, no, the Levante series, like, it's for price point, it's actually pretty decent. You know what I mean? Like, for and lightweight rods, man.
Yeah, you're not breaking the bank. And that Enforcer actually was built by us for the Great Lake guys. So we kept saying, Japanese rods generally are shorter. I said, you need a longer spinning rod that's got a little more power. Back in the days when we built that, don't get me wrong, tube's always been a popular thing in the Great Lakes. I don't think it'll ever go away. It catches fish no matter what. That rod wasn't necessarily built for the dark sleeper, but when I started using the dark sleeper with it, it just made sense. Like you said, a tube, dark sleeper, pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
You fish it very similarly.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. And the other thing about that Levante Enforcer, it's a great mid-weight swim bait rod. Like in the fall, when I don't want to throw like a heavier one, or I want to go to like a 4.2 Hasdong or a Easy Shiner by Kitech, like that, with anything from a 3/8 to a 5/8 fishing deep water, that rod sticks them. Like,
And that was, I was actually kind of surprised, because when I looked at it, like, it had, it's rated for a 1/4 to 5/8.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you, I almost thought like I was 5/8 on this rod, like, and for the deep, for me, like, it actually, like,
handles
it does. And like, I love throwing also like a Spark Shad.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Spark Shad on it, with, like, anywhere from, like you said, 3/8 and up, it does well. Like, it really does well. But like, when for Megabass, like that whole lineup of Levante rods, like you're even going to get, I believe, what, a 3-year warranty with that rod? Do you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So all our rods at Megabass, they all have a 3-year warranty. So first year is no questions asked, you know, unless like we don't even care. You broke it on a car door, you broke it, somebody stepped on it, you threw it at your best friend because he stole a fish off you. We don't care. We replace it like 100%. Second and third year, we cover 60% and the customer covers 40%. So really, we're taking care of our customers as far as, you know, manufacturer defect. That's basically what the warranty is there for. So first year, no questions asked. Second or third year, we cover, you know. So it's a great warranty. They're great sticks. Levante have a lot of good, particularly in the moving bait section. It like amazing. Like that, the Diablo Spec R is one of my favorites. EMTF is that Extreme Mission is really great.
That's
too.
a weird rod though, like the Extreme Missions F. Like it really like when I first heard it, I was like, "What is like?" And it's 7'5", I believe, or 7'4". Yeah, 7'5".
At 5.
Yeah, and it like, and when you go into like the Megabass rating, like they have their own rating, you know. So like an F5 falls into, I believe, as a medium.
Yeah, medium heavy, like medium
heavy.
Yeah, smack dab in the middle.
And they actually put it in as a crankbait. So you have deep diving, mid diving.
Yep.
It's a phenomenal spinnerbait rod.
Yeah, amazing.
It throws topwater like nothing.
Yep.
And also I want to say vibration, whether it's, you know, a round trap or a chatterbait rod. The first time I got it, I took it out and I threw on a half-ounce chatterbait and I was chucking that around and I was like, wow, okay, like it's a phenomenal rod for this. But I also use it for like cranking, you know, top water, whatnot. Like it's like it says, like the emergency missions type F, you know what I mean? It's that one that, you know, you may not necessarily be thrown every day, but when you need it, that rod shines, man. Like it really does.
It really does. And you know, the years that I've spent at Megabass, I've learned, if I could say what I've grown or what area I've grown as an angler, it's been the technical side, just the setup between the rod, the reel, and the line, and then the bait that you're throwing, and how all that connection gives you like a free flowing bait with lots of connection between the bait and the angler, so that you know everything that's going on with that bait. And something that happened that was kind of a surprise is that growing up, I was with a company for a very long time, and typical North American rod, they were much faster at the tip, you know, fast, extra fast. Like even a fast rod would be extra fast on the Megabass side, like very, very stiff at the tip. It's amazing. Like I got a buddy that took a couple of those Levante EMTFs, took them to Florida and was throwing like weightless stick baits on these flats. And he's played around with a lot of rods and he has P5s, he has them all. And he said, Nick, I'll tell you that Levante for like dead sticking a stick bait or casting it way out there and working it slow, there is no better rod. Like he said, my hookup ratio literally went up from 50% to 80%. Mm-hmm. And when you think about it, generally guys throwing like a bottom contact bait, everything is faster at the tip.
Yeah.
That EMTF's got a lot of bend. It's a fast action, but a lot of bend down the belly. And I just think when that fish grabs it, that little bit of leeway in your hook set just allows that fish to get the bait better. Yeah. You just don't lose as many. It's hard to explain, but I've gotten away from it. Like the fastest rod I own right now, and it's pretty quick, but again, like typical Megabass, it does have a lot of bend. That X Bites is like one of my P5 X Bites. Yeah. For finesse jigs. It is one of the funnest rods I own. It is super light. Probably, I would arguably say it's the most sensitive rod we make in the P5 lineup, because those rods are built very different than typical blanks. You know, they are built like a puzzle. So when you think of P5 and you look at the entire lineup, every single blank is very different and specifically designed to do one thing really well. So it's not like, if that's a P5, it's got to be as sensitive as that P5. Not necessarily. They build it so that there are different materials in areas that are needed, that they feel are needed to get the best out of the action, the fight, the feel of the bait when you're working it back to the boat, and then obviously the hook set and all that stuff. So everyone's different, but that X-Bites is ultra sensitive for throwing like anything from, I'd say, like a quarter all the way up to it. I think it tops at 1 ounce, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe 3/4. But
wow,
it is like more like quarter to half ounce. That's the sweet spot of that rod. That lighter, open water stuff. I took it out to St. Clair a couple years ago, last year. We had a tournament out there and I had a little finesse jig. And I know they're eating craw in the fall, or late in the season. I'm like, I'm going to throw this around. Every big fish came on that bait. And that rod, like it was so much fun. I never put it down until I got into the late fall where they went deeper. I went to every lake, inland lake, everything. And I was like, I just want to get a finesse jig bite. That's all I'm thinking about. Just to have some fun. And it's a fantastic rod. But that's probably the fastest rod that I have. I mean, there's some bigger ones, but stuff that I use up here, that would be it.
Yeah, that's like, I'll be honest with you. Like, for anybody who's never really maybe used a Megabass rod, like I only came into it like over a year ago, and I'll be honest with you, like I was blown away the first time I loaded up that Orochi, the shaky head, which also comes in the Levante series also. Man, it's like the sensitivity was amazing, and it became my finesse. Generally my finesse. So I was throwing anything from like Nico rigs on it to small paddle tails to wacky rigs on it. I even used it as a drop shot rod just to play, I say, take this rod, I'm just going to see what I can do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it'll find its place. And I'll be honest with you, it slowly became that favorite, rod just for wacky worms. And it was that follow-up, like if I ever had any issues where I missed a fish or whatnot, that rod goes back out. And I tell you, you'd think, a lot of, extra fast or a fast action rod. This rod here, I have to say, for being a 7-foot medium light, the way that rod loads up, it is impressive. And it became slowly to be one of my favorite for just finesse crankbaits,
right? Just
throwing like little finesse cranks. And I felt it was just perfect for it. And the Megabass lineup, dude, I have to say, like it's pretty impressive. I've never personally used any of the P5s. I've had the opportunity to, like the Windbuster was one of them. Is it Landslide?
Landsat.
Yeah, Landsat. That's it. I've held those. Like it's I gotta say it's pretty. We have a pretty impressive lineup at Tight Lines Tackle here in Cornwall.
Amazing. Yeah, Rob does a good job there. Yeah.
Dude, like I can't, out of everywhere around, like even Ottawa.
Yeah.
Like he's really holding it down for fishing. Like there are other ones that really would be closer. Elite Tackle, I think it is, in on the Quebec side there.
Yeah, on the Quebec side, nice people too. Yeah,
Daphne, they have a fantastic shop too. Not to take away from them, but like for Rob, like he's doing pretty impressive stuff that way. So I gotta ask you though, when it comes down to it, if you were out there and you could only have one rod, one reel, one setup, what would it be?
If I had to pick one.
Yeah, if you had to pick one. I know you probably have a boat full.
Yeah.
And you only had one. What would be that one rod and reel? And you can even throw in the Megabass lure that you'd probably use on
it. It would probably be a P5 110 special.
Wow.
With a 110 plus one. 10-pound straight fluorocarbon and go to town. I feel like if I need a fish, that's the deal. Although it's super hard. Like honestly, it might just be the Windbuster.
Yeah, they can throw a lot on that Windbuster. Apparently,
yeah, Windbuster's great. I mean, you could throw jerk baits on it too. It's a great jerk bait rod, but that's
that's a 7'2", I believe.
7'2", which is a big reason we were looking at making an enforcer in the P5, which used to be called was in the Destroyer lineup. A Brigand, which was the same thing, 7'4". I wanted them to make it in a P5 so bad, but because we had the Windbuster JDM, which was close-ish, they didn't make it. I still I'm still on them like a fat kid on a cupcake, trying to get them to build an enforcer in the P5. But yeah, if that was it, that would be my rod. That would be my rod. With Circate spinning reel, 15, 16-pound braid with 10-pound fluorocarbon. And it would be a 4.2 Hasdong.
Nice.
I've caught a lot of big fish on that bait in the fall, particularly, all summer long too. I'm sick and tired of throwing drop shot. I'm gonna pitch this thing around. And it is a big fish bait. Yeah, it's something about the profile, the action. It just has that smelt, perchy kind of look to it. Man, they eat it up.
Oh, it does. It definitely does. Because I've thrown the Hasdons actually on a drop shot, but the smaller one.
Yeah, the 3-inch.
And these little guys, they do great. Like even the Spark Shad was one of my favorites. But yeah, no, the Hasdon and like a 4.2, I have not tried that yet. But I feel like that. I feel like he's giving us a big secret right here. Like he's trying to tell us something. Like I think sales are about to go up on that.
Yeah, that's been anybody that's been in my boat in the fall, pretty much that's what I throw. I mean, it's one of those, I'm dialed in. I got that. I have a 5-inch Spark Shad, with like a Dirty Jigs, 5/8 or 3/4 ounce Matt Allen head, and I'll throw that around when they're a little bit suspended up off the bottom. But on the bottom, man, that Hasdong shad is about as good as it gets.
Nice. That's that's it right there. You know what I mean? Like, but that's the thing. Like, you're really dialing it in. And like when you look at like every time I see you on social media, because I've followed you for a couple of years. Actually, the first time I ever sat through one of your lives, you did it with the Ontario Kayak Bassmasters group, John Dean. You did a live there, and I remember sitting down and you were talking about jerk baits, Vision 110s and whatnot. And I was like, oh, that's really dialed in. So then I remember looking you up on Instagram. Wow, dude, like you have an impressive, like it's in like the fish, like it's just giants to giants. Like and like epic shots, dude. Like I have to say, like it's a pretty impressive, like just to go out there and see like the amount of fish. And you're obviously you're doing this out of a boat here. So what boat setup do you run here?
So I have I was lucky enough just after, it might have been, it was sort of during COVID, just after, a buddy of mine that was moving his, he had a 2013 Champion Stratos Elite 202. So Stratos, but it had the Champion hull. He got it from a buddy of his. It was a 2013. Like I said, it only had 100 hours on the motor and had a lot of good options on it. The price that he gave it to me for, I mean, I couldn't even buy an aluminum boat for it. So I jumped it. And then since then, I worked out some stuff with Garmin. Radio World came on board and they really helped me out. So this year my setup is like, it's pretty insane. I have 5 graphs, 3 in the front, 2 at the helm, 2 live scopes. I run perspective and live at the same time, or forward at the same time. I mean, I grew up in an era where it was like paper, maps, and 2D sonar. And that's how we used to figure things out. And then from there, it went to, oh, we had a GPS, but it was just a blank screen with nothing on it. I know I'm dating myself, but that's what it was. And we had to, before GPS, you had to triangulate all your areas that you wanted to fish offshore. So it was complicated. You had to use a lot of your own instincts and stuff like that. But now that we have all this, all these aids and accessories and stuff, I mean, I love it. I have so much fun with it. I'm one of those older guys that I don't care. I love using it. I think it's awesome. It kind of gives me the feeling like when we were younger, flipping a dock or pitching to a stump, expecting to get a bite there. Like you knew that was the area that the fish was going to be in. I mean, now it's the reason why I never fish deep water, because I found it so boring. You're out there in the middle of nowhere. You can't see anything. You're hoping there's a fish there. And now all of a sudden you got a live scope and you can scan around and see fish.
Yeah.
It kind of brings back that shallow water sight fishing. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, it's actually a good point that you made, because I believe on one of your Instagram pages, it shows your setup in the front there with the 3 screens.
Yeah.
So that is that's a pretty impressive setup that you have. But I was gonna say, so forward facing, like for somebody that's been fishing for so long, like you're talking, it's because same time there's that crowd that's like, I'm really against it, and then there's that crowd that's like, man, I'm all for it, like forward facing sonar. And then we're starting to see like baits, like the pinfish and whatnot, and rods that are meant for forward facing sonar. I was actually on I believe it was the Cash and Rods website, and I actually started to see like forward facing sonar rods on there, and I'm like, what? Like I wouldn't have never expected. But
marketing.
So that being said, like in your experience, because we're seeing your success with forward facing sonar, but to be honest with you, like what's your overall thought on it? Like I'd really like to get like kind of just pick your brain about that.
Yeah, look, like I said, I love it, but I have no problem putting it aside and going fishing too, right? So, and I'm not the guy that necessarily tracks my bait a lot. I mean, if I'm tracking my bait, it's more to get a full understanding of what that bait's doing out there, not to track fish. Generally, I'll use it more as a target lock, to lock in on like isolated cover or a rock line or a weed line. It aids me to make perfect casts where I feel those fish are going to be. So I'm still using my instincts, but listen, in the world that we live in right now, if you're not using it, I don't care how good you are as an angler, you will not compete. It's impossible. Literally, right?
The field's got to be getting pretty stacked. If you got 3 graphs, some other guys probably got 3 graphs. The other guys probably got 4.
Yeah, that's right. And guys are running 4 live scopes, 2 out the back. They're scanning. Imagine the water that they can cover compared to me. And to top it off, like in a normal tournament, I may put a day and a half to 2 days on the water before the tournament. I go up against some of the guys that we compete against. They're out there for 10, 15, 18. I mean, good on them. It's great that they can do it, but that's what you're going up against all the time, right? And as a guide, I don't live on the lake. I live in, east of Toronto. I got to drive wherever I go. So a lot of times I'll take a day before. If I have customers, I try to bring them into like 2-3 days. I'll go out for a day or 2 by myself, just to figure things out, make sure I'm on to something. But without live scope, I mean, you're just wasting a lot of time. Now I don't waste
a big body of water too.
Yeah, it's hard. So, and guys think even in the summertime, Lake Ontario, man, it's like they're probably catching 100, 200 fish. It's not like that. Like it's a grind. And most tournaments, to get 5 big bites, you're lucky if you get 6 or 7 all day long. And that's 2 good anglers on the water. So imagine now you got to take guys on the water that don't have that same skill set, and you're trying to teach them. So, I charge a premium when I'm on the water, but those guys are not using live bait. They're using artificials. I have to teach them how to cast, how to retrieve it, what to do. All that stuff takes time. So I love it. I love teaching guys, and I've taught a lot of guys to big fish. So
So
Forward facing sonar is the deal, man. It's awesome.
So that brings me to my next question, though, is if somebody were interested to go out on the water with you, is that where can they find, like, is there
like my Instagram account,
okay,
Nick Cousvis Fishing, like they usually just message me on that. I was working on a web page a while ago, and then it just didn't feel the need for it because everything's social media now. So why spend the money? You know, and I'm not that
marketing,
guy.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
Is social media.
Yeah, they just reach out, and you know, I think my Instagram speaks for itself. Some guys, they want to know, like, I'm spending a lot of money. Is it worth it? Well, you know, my Instagram shows that it is. I never guarantee anybody a 7-pound fish. I mean, as many as we've caught, it's not easy, and they don't come every day. They're hard to find, but you know, I always put the promise out that I'm going to work my butt off every single day to give you the best day. And look, some days it's going to be a grind, and other days, you know, things just come and, you know, we smoke them. That's fishing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's and like just from fishing smallies out on the St. Lawrence for me, like, man, like it's a grind. Like it's to find those fish, and they're always moving and
all the time.
It's just such changes. Whether you're talking weather, water level, gauge wise, bait fish moving. Like these fish are continuously hunting. Like,
it's insane how much they move. Insane.
Yeah, and
think of this. You went out on Saturday and the wind was blowing a certain direction and you caught a bunch, but then you go out, 5 days later and there's a lot of change, a lot of fluctuation, wind change, weather change, barometric pressure, all that stuff. It gets those fish to move around so much. And even though the conditions might be very similar the next time you're out to the last time, it does not mean by any means that those fish are going to be doing the same thing. Every day you get on the water, you start from scratch, and you hope that you got 8 hours to figure it out, and that's it's tough, but it's fun.
For sure. It's like, in all honesty, it is my favorite fish to catch is a smallmouth. Like, I'm smallmouth river guy. I love it. Like, whether I'm deep, shallow, they're my favorite fish to catch. But they will frustrate the hell out of anyone. Make you want to pull your hair out, and I've gone out there, and I'll be honest with you, I've spent 10 hours on the water, and you think you've located something, and no, I've gone an hour out on the water, and I've located and I've made success. And like you said, there's, I don't know what it is, but if it's the sensitivity to change, it's just they move. And when they move, it's not like, going from, I'm just going to go, over to that side, or I'm going to go down a little further, off the drop off. I'm going to go hang out down there. I'm going to go shallow. It's like, you could get hauled the way down the river, miles beyond miles. These things will travel. In a boat, it's probably a lot easier. Cover a lot more water that way. 100%. In a kayak, you're going to be a little more different. But you'd be surprised. A lot of the setups in kayaks now with guys with the forward facings, and live scope, you name it. Like, these guys, they've got these battleships ready to take on these smallies wherever they're fishing, or any fish in general. But it's. Like I said, it's got to be one of those things that, like, for me as an angler, like, when you do finally make that connection, you know what I mean? And like, I would love to hook into, almost 9-pound. Like, look at that the latest, like, Indiana smallmouth that guy caught. And it was a lake he fished his whole life. And him and his buddy, and he's just, I believe he caught it on a jerk bait, of all the Berkeley stunner or whatnot. It just goes to show you, like, you think your body of water, and you'd be surprised sometimes what's underneath there. And like, you're showing us every time, on Instagram or whatnot. Like, it's impressive. Like, it is absolutely impressive, the fish that you pull out of Lake Ontario.
Now,
yeah.
As that being said, though, what's next for you? Like before we come to we got maybe 10 minutes or so, but before we come to the end, like what's next for you, Nick? Like what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. My transition, it used to be I couldn't wait for the summertime, and that's all I look forward to. And now, I have the little spring session, and then all I do is look forward to the fall again. But there's a lot going on in between. Work, constantly visiting dealers, making sure that they understand everything, any questions that they might have, to make sure that they have the right product on their shelves. I got a few tournaments this year. I got 2 on St. Clair back to back coming up next weekend. It's an opening weekend, no pre-fish tournament, which should be fun. Actually, nobody's allowed on the lake even to look 5 days prior to the tournament. So that's kind of fun. Then I whip out to Clayton, New York for 3 days of guiding on the U.S. side with a good customer of mine. And then I go back to St. Clair for the Mitchell's Bay Open, then go back to Clayton, New York for another 2 days of guiding out there on the American side. And then, I just have some lessons. I do some on the water lessons in the summertime, teaching people electronics, bait setup, rod setup, how to find fish on their lake, stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun. Keep me busy.
Oh, well, it definitely sounds like it keeps you busy. So
yeah.
No, but like I said, Nick, I wanted to thank you very much for coming on down to the River Run podcast. We appreciate it, and we're super excited that you were able to join us. Because man, like we were waiting, because man, like we wanted to talk to this Trophy Smallmouth Hunter. So, but yeah, no, for the folks, if you're where they can let them know where they can find you. And hey, if you want to go out and catch big Lake Ontario, and it sounds like he's also doing Clayton, New York, head on over to Nick. Let him know where they can find you on the social.
Yeah, Nick Cousvis Fishing on Instagram. I'm on Facebook too, but 90% of the work I do is through Instagram. I have a YouTube channel. It's not, I'm still kind of growing it, but same thing. It's Nick Cousvis Fishing. But if you want to reach out, you have any questions or whatever you want to get out, let me know. And we'll try and fit you in somewhere. And again, Adam, I really appreciate you asking me to be on the podcast again. I'm super sorry that I was late for this. I'm not laughing. If I don't laugh, I'm going to cry.
It's all right, dude. It's okay.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
that. Man, don't worry about it. Like, honestly, dude, like it's okay. Like, that happens, and you made it. That's the most important thing. You made it. But even if you didn't make it, I'd still reach out to see if you could make it another time. But no, honestly, I think it would really be cool if we could get you on maybe in the fall, and maybe we could do maybe a little more talking about technique for small follies, and maybe we'll work it on a day that works really well. But yeah, no, I just want to say thanks again for coming on, and I will see you soon, Nick. Take care.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Adam.
All right. Well, thanks for sticking around. Guys, like this is really cool. I was having fun. It is definitely a neat episode. If you had to listen to me ramble on, well, you know what? We talked. It's fun. But at the same time, Nick, who's man, the guy's a legend out on the water there. Like, if you're not hauling in almost 9-pound smallies off of Lake Ontario, like, wow. So that brings me to the end. And don't forget, check out all the fantastic podcasts at the Paddle and Fin Network. You can follow along on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And at the same time, the River Run podcast, you can listen to previous episodes on Spotify, Apple, wherever your platform of streaming is. Once again, I wanted to thank you all for stopping on by the River Run podcast.